Hello, this is Steve Ramona, your host for Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I want to thank our sponsors, Infone, and with Infone, you can place your business on everybody's cell phone, turn their business into a web app, and with a click of a button, they'll have access to you 24/7. And also Pantheon.fm. Have you ever thought about monetizing and taking your podcast to the next level? Well, Pantheon can do that. Let us show you how. Reach out to Steve Ramona, the host, at infone.co/SR1, and I will go over with you how you can make your podcast really stand out. Let's enjoy the show. Thanks again, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Hearts podcast. This is your host, Steve Ramona, and I'm excited to have my guest because this is a subject I talk to a lot of people about, and it is so important. I think it would solve a lot of problems in this world. Lion, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's a true pleasure to be here with you.
Let's jump right in. I'm going to jump into the word we just talked about before the show, mindset, and your thoughts on that.
Sure. Mindset is a very popular word these days. A lot of people use it, and there's a lot of mindset coaches out there. For me, it's too general a word. It's sort of like saying psychology. Well, yeah, but what's your psychology? What's your mindset? Where did it get set? How did it get set? Why is it set there? And how the heck do you change it if you don't like it? So my whole principle is let's find out how to change the mind, how to change the psyche at a very deep and profound level, because that's where all of our experience is sourced from. And I use the word beliefs to focus on, what is that infrastructure? It's like, pipes are underground and they come up to your house and bring water. The infrastructure of the brain is neurons. Everybody knows that. The infrastructure of the mind is beliefs. It's the patterns that we've identified that we use and that keep repeating over and over again.
Tell me more, or tell us what you do, how to get those beliefs and make it deeper than just mindset.
I teach a course called the Clear Beliefs Coach Training, and it's composed of 3 levels, but basically we're teaching how the mind works, how the psyche works with deep psychology, an understanding of how we form our belief about who we are, our beliefs about other people, our beliefs about the world. And then we go down to the core of the psyche in the subconscious mind and actually make changes there, because that's where everything's sourced. I'll give you an example. So a baby's in a crib and she's crying and nobody's coming. And so she cries louder and then someone comes. And that's a pattern. If it happens over and over again, her mind, her little developing mind, figures out if I cry and make a fuss really loud, I'll get taken care of. Now, that's a good belief for a baby because it gets them taken care of. It's a survival mechanism, right? Now, you and I probably both know someone who's an adult who's still using that strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the opposite. So baby cries and cries and cries. Nobody comes. They cry and nobody comes. They writhe around and cry and nobody comes. And then they just say they give up and they just lay still and they just give up. And then somebody comes in and takes care of them. Well, that baby's going to come to a different conclusion. If I stay still and I don't express myself, I'll get my needs taken care of. And we probably both know adults who are still using that strategy. I'm just going to go invisible. I'm going to hide. I'm not going to have needs, right? So these are core beliefs that get formed early in childhood, and they set up a pattern for the personality from that point forward.
Can those personalities be changed? I guess that's what you do.
That's what I do, yes. Because personality is just the summation of the beliefs a person has about themselves, about others, about the world, and what to do in each incident. What's the strategy you use to get your needs cared for, to express yourself, to be visible. And so that's what we call personality. So a person who's considered shy has figured out that the best strategy to use to survive is to hang back and not get too involved because, for example, they might get hurt. So that's a shy personality. An expressive, bold personality is someone who found out that if they're bold, they're going to get attention. and attention equals love equals I'm going to survive. So these are just basically personality characteristics are based on the beliefs we came to and the strategies we came up with in early childhood. And so that's where they are, that's where we work, and that's where we make changes.
Now, we have some business owners here and some people that want to be solopreneurs. Let's relate this to business and how you can help somebody in that capacity.
Sure. I'll tell another story because I love stories.
I do too. Keep bringing them.
A multimillionaire came to me, and he was a multimillionaire because he made millions, then he lost millions, and he made millions, then he lost millions. And they call me the subconscious pattern detective. So he came to me to say, what's going on in my subconscious that's causing me to have this pattern? And so after a few sessions, I was able to bring him back to an early memory that he didn't remember he remembered, where he was walking on the streets with his mother on the streets of New York, hand in hand, and he looks down and he sees a shiny penny. And he gets very excited and he reaches down for it. And his mother jerks him back and says, don't touch that, it's dirty. And he suddenly realized that the reason he couldn't hold on to his millions, which he was very good at making, was because it was dirty and he shouldn't touch it.
So he blow it and whatever he did, he just spent it all.
Right. He couldn't keep it because mom said, don't touch money.
How quickly, in this case, did it help him to understand that money's not dirty? How long does it take with you to change that behavior?
Well, depending on the belief and what's at the core, it can take only one session. It can take a few sessions, or for more complex issues like trauma, it can take many sessions. I worked with a woman who was incredibly abused, things you wouldn't even want to hear about as a child. And it took 2 years of work to get her to the place where she could go out and be in the world again. So this does work with trauma. We call it the Clear Beliefs method of trauma-informed therapeutic coaching. It's not therapy. We're not therapists. We're coaches, but the methodology goes very deep and changes the core of the mind. So that's what we do, and that's what I teach. And I've got 600 graduates around the world in 45 countries.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And that's what you just said. You can expound on what makes you different than a mindset coach. Because you're not a mindset coach. You're much deeper than that.
Yeah, I would call myself a therapeutic coach or a transformational coach. Hard to put a particular name on me because I do so many things. I work with people who are having trouble in business. I work with people in having trouble in relationships. It doesn't really matter what the trouble is. My philosophy is there's always a cause. And the cause is always in here somewhere. We look like the problem's out there often. It's like she's the problem.
Yeah.
But I point out that, well, there's got to be a component of you in the mix somewhere. So what's your side of the situation? And it's often a belief deep down based on a childhood experience and a childhood conclusion. So anyway, that's what I do, and it can take just a few sessions to clear up a problem. People keep coming back to me because we have lots of problems, lots of beliefs that they're impacting many parts of our lives.
The ROI, which is I probably shouldn't use, but it's the return on their investment of time. It's one session or 1 year, 2 years is so powerful.
Yeah.
What I would assume attitudes are changing as they graduate from this as well, right?
Well, what's an attitude? An attitude is an orientation, right? It's an orientation toward myself, toward you, toward the world. And so, yeah, that's composed of beliefs also.
Yeah. Okay. What is one thing? Is there a common thread that you learn when you bring clients on and students? I like that word better because you're really teaching. Is there a common thread you can tell the audience that to look out for, or is it there's not one?
Sure. I'll talk about the most common belief I've seen. I've taught all over the world and talked to audiences all over the world. Throughout all cultures, the most common belief is there's something wrong with me. And I'd like to give you and the audience a direct experience of this work. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Great. Okay. So close your eyes and feel what it feels like to hold the belief there's something wrong with me. Say it as if it's 100% true, even though another part of you knows that it isn't, and feel in your body what the sensations are associated with that belief.
Yeah.
So Steve, what are you noticing in your body when you believe that?
A burning,
Where?
my stomach,
Mm-hmm. What else?
rigid
Mm-hmm. Where do you feel the rigidity?
in my muscles in my arms,
Okay.
just emotionally drained.
Wonderful, beautiful. I know it's not pleasant, but it's good that you saw that. Now, let go of that belief. Like, take it off as if you tried an outfit of clothing on at the store and it made you feel this way. It's like, ugh, get this off me, right? So just strip it off, take it off, toss it away, toss it aside.
Yeah.
And by the way, those are common sensations. Everybody's going to be a little bit different about, but it's always something either makes you may bend over, or it's heavy, or it's hot, or one of those things. So now I'd like you to try on a different belief. Feel what it feels like to hold the belief, I am a sacred and worthy being. And say it to yourself as if it's 100% true. And feel what that feels like in your body.
Feel like jumping, energy, a little bit of racing heart rate. My end of my fingers feel alive. I want to move. Just joy is coming through my head, through my body. My voice is changing. I can tell it's much different now.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, you can take that one off if you like, or keep it on, because you get to decide what you believe, right? And so that's a direct experience of the fact that different beliefs cause different feelings. Our beliefs create our experiences. And again, another brief story. So I walked into a party one night, and it was going to be a good party. I knew that there was going to be a lot of people that I knew there. And as soon as I walked in the door, and there was a lot of people there, I felt weird. My body was just vibrating. Everything was vibrating. And it's like I had never felt that thing before. So I said, all right, something's happening. Something got triggered. I didn't know what it was, but something was triggered in me. So I sat down right inside the front door, closed my eyes, and I felt the experience. And this is how to use it in the reverse way. So I felt my body, and you have to feel it completely in order to get it to process and move. If you resist the experience, if you resist the feelings, it gets stuck. So I felt it fully throughout my body. It was like, it wasn't pleasant, but it was like, ah. And then after it calmed down a little bit, which only took 20 seconds or so, I said, what belief are you? I asked the sensation. And immediately I heard, I don't belong here. And I went, oh, that old belief. I had cleared it a long time ago, but something triggered it to reestablish itself. It could have been somebody's hand movement, or a smell in the air, or someone who I hadn't finished business with, So it didn't really matter why, but what mattered was the fact that I got triggered and that old belief came up. And so using my technology, I cleared that belief, just like taking it off, letting it go, and then installed the new belief, like we just did with you. I belong here. Felt that belief fully, stood up, opened my eyes. It was a completely different party. Now suddenly everybody was friendly. I felt good. People were saying, hey, Lion, come on over and talk. So that took about 20 seconds. And that's a technique anyone can use for themselves.
And this is what you teach. And what I love about what you're doing and what you do, is we talked before the show, is you want to teach us this technique so I can walk away and use the technique in a situation like that to succeed in life.
Absolutely.
And anybody can learn this technique?
Yes. Yeah. We've had people from all different generations, all different countries come and learn these processes, and then use them not only for themselves, but also to help other people.
You educate people on their triggers, because they're, as you said, they're different for everybody.
They are. We talk about how triggers form, how the beliefs form, how these strategies occur. It's basically developmental psychology, positive psychology, as well as some philosophy and some religion and some spirituality thrown in. So it's really a comprehensive understanding of the human animal. Who are we as humans? We're multidimensional. We have many dimensions: physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, financial, economic, social, relationships. We're part of a culture and part of a country, and all of those things are influencing our beliefs. So it doesn't matter whether someone's raised and born in China with Chinese language, or in Colombia with, learning Spanish. The principle of the beliefs is the same. And so I teach people the principles of how beliefs work, how they form, what the mind is, why it does this, and then the technology for changing it. And then those people go back to their country or their culture, and they work with people who have those beliefs and who want to change them.
Because they can communicate that. Yeah, that's interesting. How important is your work?
Wow, that's kind of a loaded question. Well, I believe that it's very important, but that's just my belief. It's like, ask the people that I've trained. We've got hundreds of incredible testimonials of people who said, this changed my life and I now can help other people. So to me, that each one teach one, each one heal one, that's what I'm here for, is to spread the technology that works to transform people's lives.
Yeah. And it was loaded, and you answered it perfectly, because that's what I wanted you to do. Is I love what you're doing is you're passing it on. Not like I want everybody to be my students, pay me, be a students, and move on. You want this, what's the word I want to use? Culture, this attitude to be passed on. Hey, you go talk to your sister who's having a problem, or your best friend. Here's some techniques you can help with them. If they need more help, they come to you, right?
Right.
Okay.
I'd love to teach this process in elementary schools, because kids ought to know from the very beginning, hey, this is how your mind is being created as you sit here, and as your teacher tells you things, and as your religious leader tells you things. This is what beliefs are, and your mind is composed of them, and you get to decide which ones work for you and which ones don't. That would be such important information for kids in elementary school, let alone middle school or high school or college, or
Yeah.
or new parents. I mean, and we have coaches who work with all different kinds of people. Yeah.
So your game changer would be, what I'm hearing is, you get that elementary school kid before he's 10, 20, 30 years out. Now he's got all these beliefs he's got to work on. You get it, nip it in the bud, in the phrase, correct?
Yeah. That would be ideal, right? If children understood that they got to decide what to believe, and that they could try it on and see if it works for them or not. Now, we have issues with parents who want the child to believe what they believe because their beliefs worked for them in their life. They survived, and they want to make sure their kids survive. So they indoctrinate the child with their beliefs. Now, the thing is, it's a two-way street, because the child wants to adopt the beliefs of the parent. Have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So all children suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. They're a little person who could be killed by these big people. And so they adopt the beliefs of the big people who could harm them in order to be like them, because if you're like someone, they like you more, and then they won't throw you to the wolves or kill you. So every child is suffering that, but the child actually wants to adopt those beliefs because they want to be close to the parents. So if the parent tells you you're a piece of crap and you don't belong here and you're a waste of air, you take on the belief, because at least that aligns you with your parent. Otherwise, if you argue with him, he might throw you out. And so it's a two-way indoctrination.
Yeah.
And then of course we go to school and have teachers, and then we go to church or synagogue or mosque and get religious leaders. And part of the mind is that it tends to believe betters and elders. Who is ever bigger, better, elder? We tend to take on those beliefs, and a lot of them are terrible, and a lot of them don't work, and a lot of them are interfering with that person's life. If people could choose their own beliefs from a very early age, or clear the ones that are in their way now, they are free to create themselves and be themselves in the world.
Would this work? Because I've had a couple guests that are prison, been in prison and gotten out and been very successful. Sounds like this work would be fantastic for prisoners.
I've given a number of talks at San Quentin prison in the Bay Area, and the prisoners were very amazed to hear what I had to say. They were in the pre-release program, so they were getting close to getting out, and so I was trying to help them reshape their beliefs to work in the world. And I said, look, you can go back out and do the same thing over and over again, or you can change who you are, how you respond, and actually make it in the world. But you have to be willing to adopt the world's beliefs of what success means and what goodness means. And so it's not just what I believe, because we're in a culture that has beliefs. And if you go against the culture's beliefs, you're going to get your vote canceled. So you have to find a way to work with other people's beliefs and the culture's beliefs, and find your way through to express yourself fully, but within a social culture that is established. And if you don't like the culture, change it by doing social action and changing the laws, and work socially in order to change the environment, work environmentally in order to change the environment, and then work on yourself at the same time so that you can optimize your way through to success.
Yeah, and there's people in their own prison, outside prison, that you probably can help tremendously too.
Yeah.
This is incredible stuff, Ryan. Audience, this guy's incredible. And I want to jump into your weekend training that you're doing, because I'm sure people have heard all this. They're going, okay, I need to know more. Talk about that.
Sure. The Clear Beliefs training comes in 3 levels. And we offer our first level. It's $1,000 training, which we offer for only half price, $497. And it's a 2-day training. We call it Introduction to Belief Transformation. And you get all the basic information of how the mind works, how to change it, what it's composed of, who you are composed of, who you are. And then a couple of the primary techniques that we teach at that first level that you can go out and help yourself and help others. That's step 1. Step 2 and 3 are more advanced: belief clearing, and then trauma healing, and inner voice transformation. But level 1 packs in a tremendous amount of information in just 12 hours of training over a weekend. So the website is introductiontobeliefs.com, and you can sign up for the next one that's coming. We do them about every month or every 2 months. It depends.
And then they could, if they didn't get enough on the weekend training, then they can level up to the next one.
Right. They can go up to level 2 and then level 3. Yeah.
Very cool. I love that. Well, you've given us a lot of tips, a lot of information, great training. How can they get a hold of you? We gotta have them reach out to you now.
My personal website, which has links to all the other things I do, is liongoodman.com. I suffer from multiple website disorder, so that's a way to links to all my other activities. I have free ebooks there. I have articles and movies and things. And then if people are interested in the whole training, if they're a practitioner, coach, therapist, healer, or consultant, they can go to the main training website, which is clearbeliefs.com. And there's ways of getting hold of me through any of those websites.
Okay. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I say this a lot on this show. So the first 4 people that reach out to you, Lion, an audience, mention the podcast or my name, I'm going to send you a $20 Amazon gift card.
Oh, that is so kind.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And serve people that serve, sometimes it needs a push. And you know that more than anything. That $20 might go get on a call with you or email, whatever that may be, and we're helping them. Fortunately, we need money in this world. It's how it works, and it's a reward. It's a belief. I'm going to start
exactly. What's money made of? It's made of beliefs. Otherwise it's just a green piece of paper in the U.S. or other kinds of plastic or paper elsewhere. But it's imbued with beliefs in the banking system, in the government, and when that leaves, all you have is green pieces of paper, which happened during the Depression or deflation, when bills become worthless because the belief has gone away. Yeah. And so it is made of beliefs, and we need to understand that so that we don't take it too seriously. It's like, oh yeah, this is a social construct. It's a social belief. We need it. We're using it. It's very useful. No problem there. So then how do we get involved with it without becoming too attached to it, without being greedy, without being an asshole?
Yeah.
Good principle. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, great one. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
So, last thing, we're running out of time here. Energy. I'm big on energy. When you serve, it boomerangs back that positive energy. Does that fit in this training as well?
Absolutely. Again, we're multidimensional creatures. One of our dimensions is the energetic dimension. There's a lot of things going on in energy medicine, tapping and doing other kind of hand waving and woo-woo stuff. So we are energetic beings. One of my former partners teaches about the chakras, and that's an ancient Sanskrit understanding of our energy centers in the body. And she and I wrote a book called Creating on Purpose, which is about manifesting. And you manifest by taking an idea and moving it down into the ground. It's got to be grounded. So there's lots of people with great ideas, but they don't ground it. And it's only when it's grounded does it actually have an impact in the world. So so all the things that other people have studied fit into this multidimensionality that we are. And so if we see each other as divine multidimensional beings, we're both divine and human. We're psychological and we're sociological and we're scientific and we're, our body's a miracle system. So it takes you into that place of awe, like, wow, we are so amazing. And that attitude by itself can heal the world when we see each other as the miracles that we are.
You make my heart happy hearing all this, because I teach energy and just positive energy. I figured it was, but I want to put it out there because a lot of people don't. They energy is just like, oh, it's over there. It's woo woo, and it can be, but it is still there. It's still part of us, like you just said.
Yeah, and it's also science. It's science. Energy is one of the four fundamentals, and space, time, energy, and matter, right? And energy and matter are together with E equals MC squared, and space time are together. But there's a fifth element. The fifth element is consciousness. It's in the word quintessence means the fifth element, right? So consciousness is the fifth fundamental. You can't really explain it in terms of anything else. It is itself. We are aware. Consciousness is everywhere in the universe, as far as I can tell. And so that's what we're using to be awake and to be in the world and to do what we do. So put your attention on your own consciousness. There's a lot there.
I love everything you're doing. I want to thank you for being on the show. God bless for what you're doing, because I think it's very important. When I answer that question, I know my thought is you're changing lives. You're just not making people more money. You're actually crossing over personal, professional, all that, because I believe they're together. There's no work-life balance. It's all one thing, and you're helping with that. And I want to thank you again. I'm going to thank you multiple times. One last thing. Is there one last, you've given us so many golden nuggets. What's another tip you can leave the audience that they can think about that helped you and helped them?
In my ebooks, I have two ebooks, Clear Your Beliefs and Clear Your Clients' Limiting Beliefs. There's an exercise in there called belief self-diagnosis. And so my tip for the audience is get my free ebook, do the process. But the tip is this: if you don't like something going on in your life, look at your beliefs about that thing. If you're in a hard relationship, look at your beliefs about love and relationship and about yourself and about the other person. If you're having problems in work or career, look at your beliefs about work and career. Examine your beliefs, because that's where the answers are. When you can see what the underlying principles are of what you're doing, how you're responding, and how you're putting yourself out into the world, you will discover things about yourself that you didn't know, and you will recognize that you can change them.